Oh, man. It's Friday night, and I get to do my favorite thing in the whole world. I get to talk football. By the way, I partnered up with BetUS this season, so I get the opportunity to do something extraordinary. I get to give away free money. You get 125% bonus on your first 3 deposits. So make sure you check out BetUS. The link is in the description below. And man, woo, yeah, God, I'm excited. Perry, I am doing fantastic. We are less than 3 weeks away. We are 20 days away from the Hall of Fame game. And the Hall of Fame game is actually kind of important. I'm actually looking forward to it. It's going to be the Bears and the Texans. And I'm going to go into a little bit of detail here in just a second about the how important this game is, because we're going to see Caleb Williams in his debut. And he's probably not going to play long because he's already been designated the starting quarterback, but we are going to see him play, and I think it's important. So I am having some technical difficulties. Apparently, I'm only streaming live on Instagram and YouTube. I'm not doing Twitter. There's a problem with some sort of link. So if you're following me on Twitter and you're having some issues, I apologize. But instead of you know what? It might be a pretty easy fix here. Give me one moment here. And hopefully, if you're following this on Twitter, you'll be able to check this out. For whatever reason, it's not syncing up. So yeah, it's a problem with Streamyard. So I kind of want to get into the content here because I'm going to break down the AFC in a lot more detail. My NFC East video was delayed. I wasn't able to get it out last week. A variety of different reasons. Most importantly was maybe the biggest one was Cox Communication had their internet service just shut down. So I had what's called an outage in this area. I couldn't even do anything at all. So minor problem. Chris Clegg. Oh man, God. I've known Chris. Oh God. We didn't start hanging out till after I was 20, but we've known each other for almost 40 years. One of my oldest friends, man. Back in Kansas City. Chris, if it means anything, here in Vegas, it is literally 120 degrees outside. It is crazy hot outside. So Perry's coming in strong right now, saying the Bears need to give him lots of reps. The Bears are dumb making. I agree completely. They were really dumb to make him the starter even before OTAs and training camp. That didn't make any sense. That the Texans didn't handle CJ Stroud, which I'm also going to go over here in just a little bit the same way. CJ Stroud had to earn it. And the Bears, so the way the Hall of Fame game is going to work is that I really think Caleb Williams will play at maximum just the first quarter. I really think that they're going to give their backups a little more action. They want to go ahead and see a lot of other guys. And I keep in mind it's a little different format with the preseason being condensed with 17-game season. But I do not really expect Caleb Williams to play more than the first quarter, but it is important to see him. And I kind of want to go into a little detail why. I'll start right now. Now, BetUS doesn't have this option. I'm a few miles away from Station Casino. There's a lot of different gambling sites that you can go ahead and check out. But I just took a screenshot of the one that's closest to my home. I got Corey coming in, resident Air Cardinals representative. Matter of fact, it's very ironic. It's very ironic that you chose this point to come in because there is a Caleb Williams, Kyler Murray comparison. Caleb Williams' passing yards is 3,500 for the whole season. And right now, I'm really hoping that he has a good preseason because I fully expect this number to go up, barring injury. And just to put in some context here, I don't know if you can see this or not, but I'm going to read it to you here. Last year, Bryce Young had 2,877 yards passing. CJ Stroud had 4,108. Anthony Richardson, 577. Will Levis, 1,808. Now, keep in mind, Richardson had he only played in 5 games, and now those 5 games, 2 of them he left through to injury. But 577 over a few games, he ran a lot more, and they weren't really throwing the ball a lot. Will Levis was starter midseason, and but Bryce Young played in 16 games, 2,877. So 3,500 and a half is a big number, and if he plays well in preseason, it's going to go up. So this is a prop bet that I'm probably going to make. And by the way, the passing touchdowns, I'm also going to put a prop bet on that as well. And the reason why is I went for fun. There's only been 14 quarterbacks in NFL history that have thrown for more than 3,500 yards. I was a little surprised by some of the names on this list. Sam Bradford. A lot of you may not even remember the former number 1 overall pick by the Rams, but in 2010, he threw for 3,512. Jim Kelly, technically a rookie, but he played in the USFL. He went for 3,593. Trevor Lawrence went for 3,641. Dak Prescott, 3,667. Kyler Murray, I'm not going to go out the yardage numbers, but Kyler Murray, Baker Mayfield, Peyton Manning, Carson Wentz, Mac Jones, surprised about Mac Jones, Jameis Winston, Cam Newton, CJ Stroud, Justin Herbert, and Andrew Luck. Those are the only quarterbacks in NFL history have thrown for over 3,500. The 22.5 touchdowns, the only quarterbacks that have ever done better have been Andrew Luck at 23, Justin Herbert 31, CJ Stroud 23, CJ Stroud 23, Peyton Manning at 26, Dak Prescott at 23. That's it. The only quarterback on this list, well, actually, there's only 2 of them, really. It's Cam Newton and Kyler Murray. Were dual threat type of guys. So I really, really like both of these numbers, and I like both on the under. The difference is between Kyler Murray and Kyler Murray's game, I think, equates a lot more to Caleb Williams' game than Cam Newton. Remember, Cam Newton had those back-to-back 400-yard games his first 2 games. He also had Steve Smith, who I think should be in Canton. They play in warm climates. There's not a lot of rain and snow in Arizona. I remember Cam Newton's whole rookie season. I don't think he played in one bad weather game. And you're going to have some bad weather there in Chicago. So I really, really love the under on both of these. And I'm praying. Caleb Williams, I hope he comes out like in that first drive and just ding, 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 and just looks fantastic. So, if Williams plays bad, I think the Bears are in trouble, period. I think they're in a clean house after the season. But we'll have to wait and see. I mean, that division's brutal, man. You got the Lions, who look really good. Green Bay towards the end of the season. I mean, Green Bay played San Francisco really tough in the divisional round last year. It's 120 degrees outside. I'm drinking coffee. I have no idea why. Yeah, Minnesota, which if their quarterback stays healthy, I mean, you never know what you're going to get out of them. Then you have the Bears. Offensive line problems, rookie quarterback, really good defense, really talented skill position, but I absolutely love the under on both of these. And these are bets I am going to make. But the one thing I do want to point out is that I'm going to wait till closer to the regular season, but we're 20 days away from the Caleb Williams debut, and this is something I'm going to keep an eye on. If Williams looks anything like he did in practice, I've been hearing this too, and I've seen the clips. He doesn't look like he even belongs. That's the difference between Cam Newton and Kyler Murray and Caleb Williams. Kyler Murray and Cam Newton looked really good in training camp. CJ Stroud did not. He kind of struggled early on. Good, look at those preseason games. He had one against New England. He looked absolutely horrible, but he was gradual in his improvement. Here's another thing about CJ Stroud in Houston. How many bad weather games did he play in? I'm just off the top of my head. I don't think he played in any. I think he played in some cold weather, but that was it. Corey, by the way, I don't think the Bears, I think the Bears just kind of, I really do think they're in a clean house. I mean, getting rid of Justin Fields for a 6th round pick that can be a conditional 4th is comically bad. Yeah, I love Roma Duze. I had a major man crush on him, but you had some problems in the interior offensive line that you really needed to fix. It's and by the way, it sucks too because you got a really good defense there in Chicago. But we're gonna find out. I've been wrong before. Perry says the Panthers need Young to come out of the gate strong. I've been hearing some really good things about him coming out, looking really good early on. Yeah. Panthers are a team I'm kind of looking at and like, I mean, they lost several defensive starters. They kept their old defensive coordinator. I don't like that, where it sounds like you're just kind of setting them up for failure. But they did give, one of the smartest things they did is they gave Derek Brown a massive extension. And by the way, for those of you who don't know, and most of you don't, because they win 2 games last year. I mean, Derek Brown played really, really good last year. Really good. He didn't have any help, and they lost 4 starters too. So I mean, it's kind of a bad situation there. But he will need to come out of the gate strong. But I don't like what they are doing defensively. It sounds like they're setting Evero up for failure, and I think he's a good defensive mind. But you had a bad defense. You lost all your best players except for Derek Brown. But I do like that you build inside out. But Denver Gator. Denver Gator says, what's up, football nerds? Denver Gator's going to be joining me this fall for Afternoon Delight. I'm going to be going live Monday through Friday for 3 straight hours. And on Wednesday, Denver Gator's going to join me for college football. Denver Gator, as you can tell from the name, huge LSU Tiger fan. Huge LSU Tiger fan. Keaton Talk Sports is in the house. What's up? Says, what's up, everyone? Keaton's hopefully I can get Keaton to come back on the show here sooner than later. So yeah, man, some love for Keaton here. BD Buster. All right, let's get over with. What are the colors is the Super Bowl logo? LOL. All right, I like it. What are the odds of T-Law becoming a superstar quarterback this year? I'm going to go over that. Because I'll go over the divisions here, but I'm going to go in order from east to west. But I'm going to put a star by this because I am going to talk about it. Dude, oh my God. Oh, wow. Damn. Wow. Dude, I'm so sorry, Perry. That's some bad shit, man. Yeah. Prayers and thoughts, man. Yeah. Life's short, man. Was it Kyrie Jackson, 4th round pick of the Vikings, was killed in an automobile accident. There was an outside chance he could have been a starter. Played at Oregon and Alabama, both Alabama and Oregon, tweeted out prayer. I don't know how to process death. I really don't. Know how or what to say to, but you do have our condolences here. It's part of the neat thing about this group in this community is we're out for each other, and anything I can do, just let me know. Social media links are below. And Corey's by the way, I've been hearing some really good things about Florida. I've been hearing some really good things. Like Florida's kind of a sleeper team. somebody on social media had a comment, which team's going to be better, MU or Ole Miss? And I'm like, it's Ole Miss. Matter of fact, talking about deaths, Lane Kiffin's father, Monty Kiffin, kind of the father of the Tampa 2 defense, he also passed away. So, God, we're starting on a down note here, but let's look at the positives. Life's short, embrace it. Enjoy it. I'm going to give you guys some opportunities to make some money this year. So these are bets that I'm going to be making. I'm going to do a couple. I'm not sure the amounts, but and taking an under is always hard. But I like both these prop bets, and they're prop bets I encourage you to take. And then I might be able to do a video where actually I'm going to do it at the kiosks. So it may not be that entertaining, but I might make a little smart video, a little short video, maybe a short about me placing the bets at the casino. All right. Let's dive into this here. Let's break down the AFC. Now, a lot of you have heard me say that I think Tennessee is my favorite at the number 1 pick in the draft. They're at the very bottom with New England and Denver. I'm going to talk about New England because I'm going east to west, but I do want to emphasize that a lot of people are really, really low on the Denver Broncos, and I think that it's something you may want to reconsider. You may want to reconsider, but I'll get that in a bit. Of course, Kansas City Chiefs are Kansas City Chiefs are the favorite. They should be. Baltimore's really high. I'm a little surprised about the Bengals. Not surprised about the Bills. I am surprised that the Dolphins and the Jets, and I want to point that out, though, because I'm going to start off with the East. For those of you who do that will or are not familiar with sports betting, everything's predicated on a $100 bet. So the plus 170 means that you bet $100 to, in this situation, if you bet $100 on the Buffalo Bills to win the AFC East, you would win 170. That's what the plus 170 is. Perry says he thinks the AFC West could be really competitive this season. I'm going to give you a spoiler alert. The AFC West is the only division that has a clear-cut favorite in Kansas City Chiefs, and they should. But nobody wants to see the AFC West be competitive. Everybody wants to see the Chiefs clinch that division by early December. I don't have the complete schedule memorized, but I do know the Black Friday game will be Chiefs Raiders. That's going to be a good one. Of course, I will be here live. I'll be here live for that game. I'm really surprised. At Buffalo, Miami, and the Jets all being linked together. I'm really surprised about this. Corey has a great point. If anybody can make Denver competent, Sean Payton. That said, I can see the Broncos cutting ties with everyone after this year if it goes poorly. I don't see that, Corey, but I'm really, really, really surprised that more people aren't higher on the Denver Broncos. Vance Joseph, after that 70-point explosion that Miami had, really dumbed down his defense. They got rid of some players. And the defense played really good. Matter of fact, there was a game where they held Kansas City to 9 points in I don't know what they call it now. I think it's called Invesco Field. I still call it Mile High. And that was horrible. Even Denver Gator was mad about that. But the defense towards the last half of the season actually played pretty well. Losing Justin Simmons hurts. Let's be honest. But you still have a really good defense. And you also have an offense that I don't expect Bo Nix to be a superstar this year, but can he give you what very similar to what Russell Wilson did? I think he can, and you get somebody. It's hard to believe I'm saying this, but I think Bo Nix for the offense Sean Payton wants to run is a much better fit and will be a much better player than Russell Wilson, who I think will be in Canton soon, one of these days. Depends on what happens, off the field, but definitely not first ballot guy. But I do think he'll be in the Hall of Fame someday. So it's a kind of a crazy thing to say, but I really think that he's just a better fit for what they're wanting to do offensively, and they're wanting to run a high passing offense. I think Nix has all those capabilities. He's got weapons. The offensive line isn't bad. They did lose a few starters, but I think it's much more likely what they would do is if their season, if they end up in this type of situation where they're picking close to number one, I think the odds are that they would go after Shadir Sanders. And I know Denver Gator agrees completely with me on that. There was a ton of sarcasm there. Chiefs at the top, Raiders at the bottom, coin flip for second. That's kind of what I see. The thing is with the Chargers, a lot of people are really high on the Chargers. You got to understand that what they're doing offensively and defensively is so different. This is kind of the reason why I have the channel. Is Corey, I forgot Corey's very familiar with Vance Joseph. As a Cardinals fan, if you still employ Vance Joseph, you're setting yourself up for failure. Now, I will say this. I actually think he did a pretty good job as the defensive coordinator last year. I really do. I think that after that 70-point game, they got rid of some players. I think he did a pretty decent job. He held the Chiefs to 9. Now, a lot of that was the Chiefs shooting themselves in the foot. But, yeah. The Bengals can keep Burrow upright and healthy. The AFC North could be theirs to lose. The Ravens should be solid. The Steelers should be last in the AFC North. Browns could challenge. I agree with all this. I'll go into more detail about that. But yeah, I have the Bengals as my favorite. They're kind of an upset pick, but every year there's a team that goes from worst to first, and I think it's going to be the Bengals. And by the way, they're raving about Amarius Mims in Cincinnati. Apparently there's a chance that he's going to be the starter day one at right tackle, and they're going to move Trent Brown inside, which honestly, that should scare people, because here's a guy that definitely can play guard. Orlando Brown Jr. over 350, Trent Brown anywhere from 400 to 360, and Amarius Mims, the small guy, at 340. You're running a quick rhythm passing offense that Burrow excels in. It could be good. He could be good. Corey says Shadir is a Cowboy. Once you think about it, you won't be able to unsee it. I don't see it happening, and I'll tell you why. I really think he's going to be the number one pick in the draft. I don't see how Dallas can get up to number one. Now, if Dallas implodes and they're a 7-8 win team, I mean, let's be honest. What's worst case scenario for Dallas Cowboys? 7-8 wins, and that's if multiple injuries, everything goes wrong. What are they going to have to give up to get the number one pick in the draft? I don't see it. I do see Deion being involved, and I'm going to be honest. I've been saying this, and I'm going to stand by it. I think Tennessee, when everything's said and done, will have the number one pick in the draft. I could see Deion and Shadir just saying, Tennessee, thanks, but no thanks. We want to go somewhere else. And there was something on social media, and I didn't save it, unfortunately, where Shadir Sanders listed his favorite teams. And by the way, the Cowboys were one of them. But what would the Cowboys have to give up to get that? CeeDee Lamb? Micah Parsons? I just don't see it. I really, really don't see it. I was kind of surprised. If I remember correctly, I think the Eagles were on that list, which is I don't understand that, but if they can make it work, I'll be honest, I would love to see Shadir Sanders as a Dallas Cowboy. I would love it. Prescott moves on, he goes somewhere different. Giants, I think the Giants would be great. Wouldn't that be fun? Wouldn't that be fun if Shadir Sanders is in Dallas and Dak Prescott is with the Giants? Giants are going to get a new head coach. By the way, I haven't seen Hard Knocks yet, but I'm hearing it's fantastic. I haven't signed up for any of the services yet. But Perry's coming in strong today. If Watson is there and Nick Chubb can return to form, oh yeah. By the way, I mean, there's no ceiling on how good Cleveland could be. The defense is phenomenal. The defense is absolutely loaded everywhere. You have a quarterback. You have a Stefanski's built the offense around Nick Chubb. Nick Chubb's healthy for 17 games. That team's probably the best team. Can you bank on Nick Chubb being healthy for 17 games? Absolutely not. I mean, he couldn't stay healthy in college. Probably would have won Heisman if he did. Been injured multiple times. When healthy, Nick Chubb's as good as it gets. He's a power running back with breakaway speed. He's 29. He's been injured multiple times. You have no idea. You have no idea. But if Deshaun Watson can fit in Stefanski's system, which is kind of like an oil and water thing, you got something that can be really special in Cleveland. I really, really believe that. If Las Vegas doesn't make the playoffs, our head coach will be fired. I don't know about that. I could see 9 and 10 wins, not getting to the playoffs. And I think that if you go 9 and 8, 10 and 7, you don't really have a quarterback. You weren't able to trade up. There was a lot of talk about the Raiders wanting to trade up. They gave Minshew a 2-year, $25 million deal. Right now, it looks like it's Aiden O'Connell's job to lose. It's a battle. There's an old expression: if you have two quarterbacks, it means you don't have one. And that's what the Raiders are in. And I mean, look at this division. I would take Bo Nix over Minshew or Aiden O'Connell. And I like Aiden O'Connell. I think the Raiders' best situation is if Aiden O'Connell just clear cut wins that starting job, and that defensive line could be phenomenal. Christian Wilkins is just unbelievable. And the fact that he's going to be on the same defensive line with Max Crosby, it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun, but I just don't see any way that the Raiders offense, Luke Getsy fired by the Bears. So here you had a quarterback in Justin Fields. I mean, Aiden O'Connell and Justin Fields, you couldn't get two guys more polar opposites. So I don't understand how the offense could be good. But if they get 9 or 10 wins, he'll stay around. If they go 5 and 12, then you got a different story. And by the way, let's just say they fall apart completely. Let's say they're a 3-4 win team, which I don't think they will be, because I think the defense is not bad. Then you're in that Shadir Sanders sweepstakes, who I think will be the number one pick in the draft. This draft is too good defensively for a quarterback to go number one. And by the way, Corey, we're going to do a lot of talk about the draft during the regular season. Denver Gator is going to come on my show on a weekly basis to talk college football. And you are right. There's a lot of really good defensive players, but I think Shadir Sanders is going to be a Heisman Trophy winner. I think he's going to put up ridiculous numbers. I think that he will end up being the number one pick in the draft. But if you go through prospects, there's probably going to be 5 to 10 prospects better than Shadir Sanders. But I think Shadir Sanders will be the number one pick in the draft. There's a defensive end, I can't think of his name, out of Tennessee. Across the board, everybody says is the best prospect in the draft. Travis Minor, the cornerback receiver for Colorado, better prospect, probably the number one corner taken off the board. Easily a better prospect, but quarterbacks always bump up a little bit. And I think somebody's going to jump up. I agree completely. I think Shadir Sanders will win the Heisman, and there'll be a lot of hype around him. I haven't gone through college football yet, but it was funny. I was talking to Denver Gator. Denver Gator put some comments in here. He thinks Colorado is going to be a 5-6 win team. I think they're going to be an 8-9 win team. They're coming back to the Big 12, not known for the defense. Big 12, not known for their defense. And he's going to put up some ridiculous numbers this year. So I think the Cowboys need to move on from Dak. If they keep Dak, they need to find a running back. Yeah, exactly. And by the way, the Cowboys will get a running back. I'm looking for Dalvin Cook to probably sign sometime in preseason, maybe Kareem Hunt. There could be a trade. I don't think that they're really banking on Ezekiel Elliott returning to form. I really don't believe that. It's 120 degrees outside. I'm drinking coffee. I don't, Denver Gator. I really don't. And Denver Gator, what a great comment. Do you believe the top three of the East is that close of a 20? No, I don't. I was floored by this because the Bills at plus 170. Miami and New York, I would flip New York and Miami. Miami lost a lot. New York returns Aaron Rodgers. But I was really expecting this to be a lot different. I'll tell you what, I really thought that Miami and New England would be much closer. I don't believe this is going to be that close at all. And keep in mind, I think Buffalo, this is the season Buffalo falls apart. Sean McDermott ends up not getting it done. And sometimes things just get stale. But if you take a look at these numbers, and by the way, I try to get this as close as possible. I love over 4.5 for the Patriots. I wouldn't bet on essentially a rookie head coach. I know he coached, the defensive coordinator and everything, but I wouldn't bank on that. And I hate negative 150, but I do think New England's a little better than a 4-5 win team. They're a team I really think is going to hover around 500 and surprise a lot of people. But Miami, can they be a 10-win team? Can the Jets be a 10-win team? Buffalo 11. It is going to be a really fun division, but I mean, I think when everything's said and done, it's kind of funny because I had Keaton and Keys on, and they're like, Dan, we don't see it. I mean, you got 3 consecutive double-digit losing seasons from the Jets, and all of a sudden you think they're going to be good, put down the crack pipe. But I like the defense. But no, I don't think I think Miami takes a drastic step back. I think losing Wilkins and several other defensive starters is going to hurt. You also lose Vic Fangio. The offense, I think people will figure out. So, I mean, I really, out of these, I really like Miami under 9.5. I don't know if I would take that, though. I think Dallas head coach could be on the hot seat this year. It's NFC Championship or Super Bowl or bust. Absolutely. 100% correct. Funk coming in, says looks good, fam, man. I'm glad here. Yeah, I like the Pats. I just hate that negative 150, but 4.5. Yeah, I see them winning 5. I think Dallas and Philly are favorites for the 2 stops. Talking is hard. For the top 2 spots in the NFC East, Washington, absolutely. It's funny because Philly is still favored by a little bit to win this division. I would put Dallas as the favorite, but that's just going to be a really fun division. Long week up by Harrison's. I don't know where that is. Barrett Carter is already my draft crush this year. Is he the kid out of Tennessee? Let me know which one he is. Quarterback, yeah, exactly. And what's going to happen is I think it's going to be Tennessee. I don't think Will Levis is the answer. So I think Tennessee is going to look at a quarterback, but I think Shadir Sanders will be like, no. The Giants could be a team that if Daniel Jones isn't the guy. I'm not a Daniel Jones guy. I like Daniel Jones, don't get me wrong, but I just don't see it. And I think the Giants could be in a position to go ahead and get Shadir Sanders. So But is this the dude from Tennessee? I want to know. At Funk, what's your biggest concern going into training camp? Mine's O-line and O-line depth. My second concern is the pass rusher. Really good points, man. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. I love me some Dan. Yes. I had to pay $5.99 for that. So Raven 76 B more. Salute. Happy Friday, Raven 76 B more. We are less than 3 months away from what's going to be a great game, Chiefs Ravens week 1. Man. Buffalo got worse over the offseason. I wouldn't be overly shocked if Arizona gets them in week 1. You know what? I wouldn't be either. You have a defense it's radically different across the board. And with Arizona and Kyler Murray early on, you really don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if Arizona wins that game. I think they're a 7 or 7.5 point dog. It's in Buffalo. That's the only thing I'm like. God, if it was in Arizona, I might put some action because I know that they are a heavy dog. But yeah. Yeah, Buffalo's a team that I really think this might be the year where they have to let go of McDermott and might have to do some different things. So I love it. Oh, the linebacker out of Clemson. Okay. I need to do more. I need to do some more research, but I remember you brought him up before. By the way, Funk, on a side note, thank you for sending me that link. I kind of went down a rabbit hole. I can't think of the guy's name, but I kind of went down a rabbit hole, looked at some more of the stuff. So follow him now on Instagram and on YouTube, and he's got a lot of really cool stuff. So thank you for sending me that. I love this too. Funk's just ready. By the way, I'm like, this is Honolulu blue, isn't it? Perry, I don't really have one. Funk's predicting 17-0. So I'm joking. My concern is going to be if other teams' defensive coordinators pay attention and we'll start doing like Chicago did and drop the linebackers into a soft zone and take away what Goff does well. Yeah. See, that would be an issue I would have too. That's an issue I have with Miami because if you watch Miami play, a lot of their motion and shifting, it's really not as complicated as it looks. At first glance, their offense looks exceptionally complicated. It's really not. It's just a lot of misdirection. And I really think that teams are really going to kind of figure this out. That's why of these AFC East bets, I really like under 9.5. 9 and 8's not bad. And I can see a lot of teams. By the way, last season's first season, Tua was able to stay healthy. What happens if you take Tua away? You lose a lot of defensive starters plus a world-class defensive coordinator in Vic Fangio. So, yeah. If the Pats can challenge for the AFC East, that's a great season with their young players getting better. I actually am really, 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 really high on the Patriots. I actually like the Patriots over 4.5. I would never bet on. I don't want to bet on a rookie head coach, and I also wouldn't put action on something that's negative 150. Maybe not never, but it's very unlikely that I would do that. But I'm very high on the Patriots because the defense is world class. Ramondre Stevenson, I think, is an absolute stud, and I like what they've done. I like the direction the Patriots are going in. When does Drake May take over? If he sits out for the whole season, it's because the Patriots are doing well. If they have to throw him into the mix, then I would be a little concerned. But I mean, Jacoby Brissett can play, folks. I don't understand why. Barrett Carter's the linebacker from Clemson. The guy you're thinking about, yeah, James Pierce Jr. He's all right. I don't have him. But by the way, Harold Perkins out of LSU is just a monster. They were using him as an off-ball linebacker, which I didn't get at all, but he has a lot of versatility. Abdul Carter is another guy. I've heard about. I'm drawing a blank which school he goes to. Harold Perkins, I've been watching because he was playing as a true freshman on that LSU defense. He looks really special. Will Johnson is my number one prospect. Corey, maybe I need to get you on with Denver Gator this fall. This fall, I'll be going live 3 straight hours during the afternoon. I'm calling it Afternoon Delight. Hopefully I can get you to come on. Von Miller is still with the Bills. Yes. James Pierce for the Vols. Yeah. That dude. So I've gone through multiple mock drafts, and I've been seeing this is the number one prospect on almost every big board. James Pierce for the Vols. And I'm hearing that he's going to test out through the roof. He's going to, when the combine comes, he's going to test out. He's going to be like 6'5", 260 and run like a 4.5, maybe even crack low or high 4.4s. Ten and a half sacks last year, but yeah. Slasher coming in strong, man. Harold Perkins Jr. from LSU is the guy who went. You know, it's funny because as a freshman, they were using him more as an edge rusher. Last year, they used him more as an off-ball linebacker. I'm kind of curious how they're going to use him. If I was a team like Philly, I would want him as an edge, but they could use him as inside linebacker. I'm going to kind of watch Nakobe Dean and Devin White and how that pans out. If I'm Philly in a perfect world, Devin White, the year that horrible year where they won the Super Bowl, which everybody really hated, Devin White was as good of a linebacker as there was, and then he didn't really work in with 42 minutes into the show. I'm having a brain freeze. Dead coach in Tampa in that Tampa 2 scheme, that's not what he really wanted to do. But under Vic Fangio, there's a chance he could be really special. There's also a really good chance with this defensive system that Fangio's putting in. Devin White excels, leaves in free agency. Nakobe Dean takes over, and you can draft somebody and just kind of plug and play, especially in this draft. So. What I can't believe I already forgot Tampa Bay Buccaneers coach. Jesus. If Meyer can do it, well, so here's the drill with the Patriots: is Jacoby Brissett is probably going to play. They have a late bye. I think it's like week 13, so there's a chance Drake may play. But the whole plan is that May sit for the whole year, and I think that's a really smart thing to do. So. Yeah, that dude, he makes a lot of really great points, and I've really enjoyed him on social media. So that's one of the things I love about doing this is that it's one of the rare things that happens, something non-related to football that I start following and watching. But yeah, that dude's awesome. By the way, if you ever watch him, like the appearance, kind of like, what the hell? But I don't have any tattoos on me. I don't have any hair on me. So, a white dude with facial tats and dreadlocks is a little weird, but he's entertaining, and I love his social media. So yeah, it's pretty cool. And like he's got a badass girlfriend. So, you can look as weird as you want. Your girl hot? Yeah. Okay. There you go. You're good. It is really bad. It is really bad. He did something to alleviate some pressure, but it's like 15, 20, maybe even 25 million. It's something crazy. I'd have to look it up, and I know he signed it was a 5 or 6 year, $120+ million deal. Didn't even have a sack last year, so it's terrible. So, what are your top concerns for? Oh, what a good one. I feel like he would be a perfect fit in a Vic Fangio scheme, especially when somebody to drop back into coverage. He could. Now, one of the things that Philly does is they don't like drafting for right now. They like drafting for the future. That's why I don't really know if that would be a fit. But this year they're drafting for right now. I mean, they got 2 corners that need to play right away. So a guy like Perkins, here's another thing. Let me ask you this. If he plays really, really well, Devin White, do you re-sign him? He would want a lot of money. You give him a 1 year, 77.5. So Bowles, Todd Bowles. Yes, I'm sorry, Perry. I couldn't believe I forgot that. God, Ravens 7-6 more. I can't tell you how sad it is that Clemson really didn't escalate into that upper echelon of programs. I was really expecting them to really contend for multiple national championships even after Trevor Lawrence left, and it just never happened. That program just, by the way, they're doing nothing with NIL and the transfer. They're I think the only Power 5 team that hasn't had a transfer yet. The recruiting classes are still solid, but they're not getting any transfers. So I'm going to kind of pay attention, because this could be a situation where, despite the success of Dabo Swinney, you may have to move on. And he may be a guy that in this new era of college football just may be maybe a relic of the past. It's going to be very interesting. I'm going to really follow Clemson really closely this year, because we're going to find out what happens. Bond's cap hit's like 15 this year, but they cut him. It's like, yeah, it's and the problem is his play is just not the same. I mean, this is a guy who's going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer when he retires, but I mean, he's 36 and he's playing like he's 36. No sacks last year. He's just not the same dude, and nobody's the same dude at 36 than you are when you're in your 20s. I mean, it's just kind of the nature of the beast, and it's sad, but it's just the way things are. And he's not the same guy. The good news is they do got some young, talented players on that defensive line, and hopefully they can learn things from Von Miller. But Von Miller at this point is just a situational dude who's just not just really not the same guy. You know, and that's just how it is. It was a bad contract for the Bills and a bad move, but they thought that they were getting somebody to put them over the top, and he's really been hindering your team, to tell you the truth. My top concerns for the Eagles are definitely the linebackers. I don't know how I feel about Devin White in 2024, but I'm willing to give Nakobe a shot since he got – yeah, Nakobe Dean, I think you definitely want to give a shot to. Remember, he's only a third-round pick. If it doesn't pan out, you can move on rather easily. I do think he has a spot, and I think he's a guy that – I loved his game at Georgia. The one thing I kept on hearing about is that he's really small, and he had some injury issues. That's why he was a third-round pick, and then he had some injury issues. So if it doesn't pan out, you can move on relatively easily. I love the Devin White signing, because if it doesn't work out at 7.5, you flush down the toilet. It's a 1-year deal. But if it pans out, the funny thing is, Slasher, I really believe that if it pans out for Devin White and he ends up being the same guy he was a couple of years ago, that year he had when the Bucs won the Super Bowl, everybody hated that, by the way. Even Denver Gator, who's a big Bucs fan, nobody wanted to see the Chiefs lose that way in the Super Bowl. That was horrible. Anyway, Devin White, if he plays that way, he'll probably move on in free agency. But for 1 year, you can get somebody who's exceptional. But, I mean, the upside that Devin White provides, and if Nakobe Dean stays healthy, I mean, that front seven could be phenomenal. So Philly's going to be a fun team to watch this year. The NFC East is going to be a lot of fun to watch. At 7-6, Ravens 7-6. What are your top concerns for the Ravens with AFC North teams? Are you concerned about? Speaking of AFC North, let's just jump right into it. Keaton Talk Sports says, I think the Pats will surprise this season. Nobody really knows what to expect or game plan around this team with a new quarterback, new coaching, along with top 5 defense with Judon and Gonzalez back. Keaton's just spitting facts. I'm really kind of high on New England. I say high. I think they're going to be about a 500 team. I think they could challenge for a wild card spot, but I don't think they're a playoff team yet. I think there's some holes on the offensive line. Can Stevenson stay healthy? Do they have enough weapons at receiver? But this defense could be really, 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 really good. Pass rush could be a concern. I have a lot of faith in Huff, Sweat, and Smith. Carter's a freak athlete. Jordan Davis has stepped. Yeah, by the way, well, Jordan Davis, I don't think really needs to be a pass rusher, but I'm telling you right now, Nolan Smith is going to be a double-digit sack guy. Nolan Smith is going to be a double-digit sack guy. So your pass rush is going to be fine. Perry, my main concern is Coach Harbaugh and your new defensive coordinator. God, if I remember correctly, didn't you promote from within from your new defensive coordinator? I forgot. Yeah, I didn't know that, but yeah, you get a girl like that, and then she also helps your business out. That's just awesome. That's just awesome. It was funny. I was watching. I have a one of my favorite content creators who has nothing to do with football is Matt Cross, and I actually sent him the link to what Matthew Stafford's wife, talked about how she was dating a backup quarterback to make Matthew jealous, and he actually released the second video today about that. But but anyway, I don't know where I was going there, but yeah. When you get a girl that helps you out, I think that was kind of you get one girl who's married to Matthew Stafford's taking things away from him, and you get a girl who helps with Tom McDonald, who helped him build his career. Those are the type of girls that you want in your life. You want women that help you, not hurt you. I guess that's my point. But at Slasher, do you think Jordan Davis? By the way, Jordan, there's no ceiling on how good Jordan Davis can be. No ceiling. No ceiling. Cleveland Browns scare me, Perry. This division's scary. But I will admit, I'm really surprised that the Browns are at +5. I'm really surprised that the Browns are closer to the Steelers than the Bengals. I'm really, really surprised about that. And I'm going to go over this here, and I'll go over the over-unders here in just a second. Here, I want to read these comments. I do. He just needs to condition himself. Yeah. I'm hearing that he's changed his diet and conditioning, and I think the Eagles front seven it's going to be a lot of fun to watch. It's going to be a lot of fun. Oh, God, DJ. This is why you always call her baby. I'm terrible at pronouncing it, but I'm going to call him DJ Ukulele, and I know it's not even close, but I think he signed with Florida State. Denver Gator was telling me. I think he's with Florida State. God, I saw him take over for Trevor Lawrence, his first start, true freshman against Notre Dame. He threw for over 400 yards and a loss, and I said that's going to be the number one pick in the draft. He was 250. He could run. He looked like a grown man playing with kids as his first college start on primetime. It was a night game in Notre Dame. I mean, it was on NBC, and there's a clip of him, his final game in high school. He went, it was Matter Day, which was quarterbacked by Bryce Young, and then DJ, I'll call him Ukulele, beat him in it was like the California State Championship game. He actually outplayed Bryce Young, and I don't know what happened. I don't know. I remember he got benched at Clemson, which here's a guy I thought was going to be number one pick in the draft, but we'll see what happens. I think he's at Florida State. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but I mean, Florida State, by the way, they had a lot of players come into the draft, but Florida State's a team kind of low key loaded. So, what a great question here. So Perry asked, do you think Steelers might have a really bad year? And Perry says, as much as I hate the Steelers, you can't count them out. I see them as a wild card, and that's really interesting. Do you think Dean can develop? Well, that's a great question. Yeah, I remember White, that Super Bowl Yeah, exactly. And if it does pan out, more likely to leave in free agency, but you never know. I mean, he may just fall in love with Fangio's system, say, you know what, I'll take a little hometown discount and stay around. Dan, what are your biggest concerns for the Chiefs going into the season? All right. I was going to go in order, but I'll reveal this right now. Left tackle. And it's a battle. We have Juanita Morris. He was a 4th-round pick last year, played a little bit, didn't play well when he did play. And then we got 2nd-round pick, who's Penei Sewell's cousin out of BYU. And I heard great things about him. I think he's going to win the job. But you got a rookie left tackle who I think is going to be the guy. But it's a training camp battle. People are talking about Xavier Worthy in Kansas City. I don't know how. I'm not a fan of it, to be honest with you. Donde Mitchell, he's the receiver the Colts drafted in the 2nd round. He's the guy I wanted instead. If you had to choose it between the 2 Texas receivers, Mitchell, the dude who's 6'2", 205, ran a 4.33. I want that guy instead of the dude who's about my size. Yeah, he ran a 4.21, but remember the last several receivers had all these great times. John Ross did nothing in the NFL. He ran that 4. By the way, John Ross was a big dude. He was like 6 foot, 6'1", 195, did nothing. Xavier Worthy's 160, 165. But Hollywood Brown, I could see being a lot of fun for the Chiefs. But left tackle. L'Jarius Sneed being gone hurts a lot too. The Chiefs got enough defensive backs to kind of, the defense is still going to be really good. But I mean, Sneed did a lot, so losing Sneed and left tackle. So, but yeah. I think so. Perry's smart. Got to leave his mentality. Yeah. He's talking about Nakobe Dean. I think he's talking about Nakobe Dean. Biggest concern for Kansas City is wide receiver and Travis Kelce. By the way, a lot of Chiefs fans think that Kelce hasn't slowed down. And it's like, yeah, he definitely has slowed down. He'll be 35 after, I think it's week 4. Me and Travis Kelce share a birthday, so I know exactly when Travis Kelce's birthday is. He's going to be 35, and he's arguably the greatest tight end who ever lived, and he's 35. So yeah, but the receivers that they brought in, Hollywood Brown, Xavier Worthy. I don't know about Xavier Worthy, but I think Hollywood Brown could have a great year. And Rashee Rice, rough off season, but I think on the field he'll be just fine this year. Find out. I think Xavier Worthy looks pretty good. I didn't think he had a route tree, but he's showing it off some of the workout videos. All that stuff really doesn't mean much to me, Slasher. He's supposed to look good in shorts. He's supposed to know how to do all that stuff. But he's 160-some pounds, and you're playing in the NFL. Now, I know you're probably thinking to yourself, wait a minute, I know a 160-pound receiver. He played really well in the NFL. But Devontae Smith is a completely different player than Xavier Worthy. I'll trade you straight up. No, I'm sorry. I'm not attacking you. It's just I really wanted a Donde Mitchell, a bigger, stronger dude who can do more things. But I'm hoping I'm wrong about Worthy. I'm hoping we are. So yes, we did. I'm sorry, I'm a little behind on the comments here, but I love 7-6 Ravens be more. I'm by the way, I'm so excited. 7-6 be more. Chiefs Ravens, the final month without football, and then in 20 days from now we get that the Hall of Fame game. I'm really excited about that. Yeah. So Funk says you brought up Stafford. Him and the wifey were upset. The Lions fans are booing his family. There is a Detroit Sports Media Network that made a T-shirt that says "Boo them kids." We petty. His wife. I don't know if you saw this. Maybe it's not that big of a deal, but to you guys, but his wife went public and she has her like podcast and she's like, yeah, to make him jealous, I dated the backup quarterback and why would you embarrass him that way? And then they went out public together and then she continued to embarrass him. And you could just see the look on Stafford's face. He's like, he looks demoralized and you should always be with women that build you up, not tear you down. And it was just why would she say that? And just she's trying to get attention, build up her podcast by tearing down her husband. And it's sad. It's really sad. I mean, I get it. You're Matthew Stafford. You're in college. You hook up with the head cheerleader, and everything looks great and everything's fine. But why is she embarrassing you? I mean, a large part of the reason why he left Detroit was for her. And anyway, it was completely disrespectful. Perry says Stafford better keep an eye on his wife. I think what she said was she was completely disrespectful to him. So if I have Stafford, I'm being she basically said that. I mean, she really did say that, but yeah. DJ is a loser at Florida State now, washed after 1 year of college. It's really a shame because after that game, I was convinced he was going to be number one pick in the draft in a few years. And Denver Gators predicting that Florida State will win the national championship this year. I'm hearing some really good things about Florida State. So, but we're going to talk about that. Denver Gator has agreed to come on my show on a weekly basis during football season and talk about college. But yeah, dude, I'm so glad the Eagles drafted Jordan Davis. We were able to draft Kyle Hamilton. Thank you. By the way, Kyle Hamilton. I kept on telling people, this isn't second name freeze here. The safety who's with the Chargers. I kept on telling people he's not that guy. He's not that good. And I was right. He's better. I was on the wrong side of the spectrum. I said he wasn't going to be as good, and he's better. God, Kyle Hamilton's phenomenal. But Jordan Davis is a guy that has limitless potential. It'll be very interesting to see what that happens there. With Philly's front seven, but you got a stud in Kyle Hamilton. God, God! I swear there was like three of him on the field in that AFC Championship game against the Chiefs. But yeah, loser is a bit harsh, bud, but I get it. By the way, yes. Kyle Hamilton was your draft crush, and I remember telling you he's not as good as the safety with the Chargers, whose name I'm drawing a blank on, but yeah, I remember you were really high on him, and I was like, guys, he isn't that good, and oh god, he's really good. Yeah, I knew you guys were going to take Hutchinson though, so but and you got Branch, who looks like he could be a stud, so I wanted Hamilton over, oh god, yeah. Jameson Williams really disappointed in me. I was a huge fan of his in college. I really hope he can turn it on this year with Laporta and ARSB. What an awesome name, ARSB. It might be difficult. Yeah, he really needs to be that number two guy. But I mean, if be honest, if I'm Detroit, I want to use Gibbs more as a receiver. I don't know off the top of my head how many receptions he had last year, but I would want to almost double that and have him be like in terms of receptions, him and Laporta, where Jameson Williams is a guy who's really going to be option 3, maybe even option 4. And remember, they traded up. They got good trade value when they traded with the Vikings. Vikings made some really bad trades, but you traded up 20 picks, and it was at 20, if I remember correctly, 20 picks in the first round to go ahead and get a guy, and he hasn't been the guy. So Perry told everyone we would trade to around 10 for one of the wide receivers. I got told a lot. I didn't know what I was talking about. Oops, I went to Garrett Wilson, but J-Mo will be fine. Well, hopefully he will be fine, because if he does pan out to be worthy of the 10th, was it 12th pick in the draft, the offense is unlimited. We talked about this. I do think Goff has some limitations. I mean, he doesn't have that elite arm strength, but I mean, he had a great season last year. If he improves even a little bit and the defense gets better, I mean, I don't want to say this, but Detroit really should be thinking, hey, we're good enough to be in the Super Bowl. That's the truth. I think, valid concerns. Tank Dell got caught in one scrum. Yeah, that was awful, man. I felt bad for that kid. And you add Diggs. It's going to be Houston's interesting. We're going to talk about the South next. I think some guys just need football year round. They discipline and structure. Yeah, some guys do. I hope so too, man. I'm pumped for the season. J-Mo is Jamison Williams. A couple of years ago, the Lions traded up 20 spots. If I remember correctly, he went from 32 to 12. They had the 32nd pick in the draft due to the Stafford trade. Of course, that was the year the Rams won the Super Bowl, so that's how they got the 32nd pick in the draft. They traded with the Vikings. Not a good trade on the Vikings' part to go from 32 to 12. And Jamison Williams just been banged up. His college tape is a lot of fun to watch. I mean, Bryce Young is throwing to him. The other receiver, another name freeze here. He's now in Cleveland, just signed a 3-year, I think it was $58 million deal. God, I had a man crush on that dude too, and I can't believe I can't think of his name. God. I'm not disappointed in his play on the field. You could argue as the best position guys in the chip game. Derwin James, yes, thank you. Yeah, I thought Kyle Hamilton would not. I kept on saying he's not Derwin James. He's not Derwin James. He's not that type of dude. He's better. He really is. And Derwin James, when he's healthy, is a stud. Hamilton's better. I thought he would be one of the next top receivers in the league, like 1,000 yards, 10 touchdowns. Yeah, I think it's part of this is because Amon-Ra St. Brown and AMSR. That's so awesome. AMSB. I'm sorry, AMSB. Just improves, and I think he fits with what Goff wants really, really, really well. I think Gibbs needs to be used more as a receiver. You have Laporta, world of talent, and I think those things has to do. But you have to remember you have the injury that he was getting over, the gambling suspension. But it kind of just seems like they just really don't know what to do with him. Could be a trade. Guy that has massive upside, though. I mean, the potential's off the charts. I remember they had that end around in the NFC Championship game. He stiff-armed, I think it was Fred Warner. I was like, oh, my God. But, yeah. Yeah, Perry says, I hope Campbell and Johnson can use them right this season and to strengthen the team. But, yeah. I think he's got potential, but all names on Detroit offense. It will be. He's a guy that I think ideally he's option number 3. And I think some games option number 2 is going to be Laporte. I think option 2 receiver-wise sometimes is going to be Gibbs, who I think needs to be used more as a receiver. He's got excellent receiving skills, and he's a lot of fun to get him in the open field. That's why I don't want to use him between the tackles. I'm going to get him in space. I don't see him being the number 2 guy, but the potential's off the charts. If he is the number 2 guy and he proves that he's a better option than either Laporta or Gibbs, you have a scary offense because Laporta is going to be a really good tight end for a long time. And Gibbs, I feel, is a guy that, and Lions fans, I think, disagree with me, but I want to see Montgomery get more touches than Gibbs, but I want to see Gibbs get used more on the outside. So I only say that about DJ because he went to Florida State. I really don't hate on players. Just I knew that. Hopefully everybody else knew that. But yeah, Denver Gator obviously is not a Florida State fan. But I'll be honest, I'm hearing some really good things about Florida State. I'm also hearing some really good things coming out of Florida. I just sent you that clip. There was a guy talking about Florida, and they've quietly done a lot of really good things. So you might, that's going to be a tough one. By the way, I hopefully I'm not ruining this, but Perry's up in Canada, so it's maybe difficult for you to get a Sun God jersey there, but hopefully you get one. Slasher, Goff looked at Reynolds all the time. If you go back and watch, Goff would force the ball to Reynolds while covered while J-Mo was wide open. Goff needs, that may be something they need to work at during the offseason. I know Mahomes famously has everybody come to his home in Texas and work out. I've been hearing great things about Hollywood Brown. I don't know what Goff does. And Jerry Jeudy was the name I was thinking of. I thought he was going to be a star and just nothing. So, yeah, they do have to build a connection. Hard to build a connection. Yeah, exactly. When do you think a 49ers will trade Brandon Ayuk? What's realistic, what they can get for him? I've been hearing that they're going to work a deal out, and that's kind of what it looks like right now, is that I think what happened is the 49ers shopped around, and I think they didn't get what they wanted. I think they probably got like a third round draft pick, and they were really thinking they could get a 1. And I think realistically, I think they're going to work a deal out. And I think that will happen is I think they'll work a deal out. And then there's a chance Deebo Samuel could be on the trading block. But that's I think they're going to end up signing him. I think they shopped around. They couldn't get what they wanted. I think they wanted a first. I think the highest. This is, by the way, Perry, this is pure speculation. I'm not really I don't have insider info. I'm just kind of speculating, but in my opinion, what happened is that they shopped around, and the highest I think a team gave them was a third or a fourth. And realistically, they wanted a first because they really did want a first because they used their first round pick on a wide receiver. They wanted one to return. They try to rebuild. Part of it is Trent Williams when he retires. They lost Eric Armstead, who they can claim that they got replacements. They really don't. So that's kind of what I think that they wanted. But that's what that's just my opinion. I think realistically, if the trade deadline comes and they can move him and, the contract works out for whatever reason, I think that you're going to get maybe a low second. And I say low second because you're going to get a team trying to trade, for a player. And more than likely, a team that I think might be perfect for would be a team like Dallas, but I don't see San Francisco and Dallas making a trade. Could be looking at an AFC team, maybe wanting to make a move. Steelers and Patriots make a lot of sense, but I don't see either one of those teams giving them a 1. So I think the 49ers will keep Brandon Ayuk when everything's said and done. But I think the next offseason, I think Deebo Samuel could go. My boy Tim says, "What's up, son? Just sent you a pic. You're going to love it. By the way, it is show related. Great show. Thanks, Tim. By the way, Tim, I got back on Facebook, but I haven't done anything. I haven't put any of the show links on Facebook yet but I've had issues with Facebook. They said that it was a copyright infringement, but I'm not able to send you a friend request, and I can't tag you on Instagram. It says you only allow certain people. So allow it so I can tag you on things on Instagram. Check your messages on Facebook, because I think I sent you one, but it's there's no picture. It's just my name. I haven't put the picture up yet. So Tim's a longtime friend, man. I hope David Montgomery, that's what he means, David M, can stay healthy all season. If he stays healthy, he could have 15 or 1,600 yards. Absolutely, he could. He absolutely could. I really, really believe he can do that if he stays healthy. He's a workhorse type back, and you have a fantastic offensive line. So if Gibbs improves this year, he actually could. Gibbs is one of those few guys that could be a 1,000 player. And I talked about this. We were talking about the greatest running backs of all time. Give me a running back who has a chance to catch Emmitt Smith. It would be Gibbs, because you have a great offensive line. He doesn't take a lot of big shots. And by the way, he's the same weight Emmitt Smith. Now keep in mind, Emmitt Smith came into the NFL. He was about 195 pounds, bulked up to like 225. Gibbs might be that guy down the line, but we'll have to wait and see. But could he be an MVP candidate? Absolutely, because he could be a 1,000 guy. So, yeah. That would be awesome. Black number 14 jersey. By the way, I hate the fact that Detroit is going to use the all-black uniforms. I hate teams that do that. I know Arizona does it. Detroit this year, I think, is doing it. I hate it. But the black 14 with Sun God on the black, that would be kind of cool. That would be kind of cool. Yeah, I think Dalvin Cook, he's a guy. Matter of fact, I wouldn't be surprised if he took a look at Baltimore and said, look, we can have a nice 1-2 punch. I don't think Baltimore really wants to do that. Dalvin Cook, I expect to sign with Dallas. And I also, Kareem Hunt's a guy that somebody's going to sign him sooner or later. But, yeah, we're going to have lots of signings. Yeah, and Perry's right. I do think that Deebo Samuel, I think they're going to sign Ayuk and then move on from Deebo Samuel. They love George Kittle, so I don't think so. You never know. I like the silver and blue too, but Funk's right. If you do get the black one, you can put Sun God on the back. That would be really cool. I had a CJ jersey and I wore it till it fell apart. I don't wear jerseys anymore, but I got a bunch of Chiefs ones. I was really mad because a guy sold me a fake real Chiefs jersey. I paid an arm and a leg for it, and it turned out to be it was a rip off, and I was really pissed. But I don't do jerseys anymore. But I'm going to move on here. We kind of went through this here just a little bit here. I do want to point out I'm very surprised that 10.5 is both for Baltimore and Cincinnati, and I'm really surprised that there's a lot of action on Cincinnati, even though they're my pick. I really didn't think there would. Cleveland over 8.5 is a solid bet. Perry says Dallas needs to sign a veteran running back. No, I agree completely. Ezekiel Elliott's not the same dude. AFC South, Houston's a heavy favorite. Jacksonville, Indianapolis. I'll tell you what. I'm not going to go back, but New England, I think, was at like plus 2,500. Tennessee at plus 850. I'm really surprised at that number. I think it should be lower, but a lot of people are higher on Tennessee. They did just sign Jamal Adams, which I'm kind of wondering because they got some nice pieces, but everything about Tennessee's it just seems off, like square peg round hole. But we'll find out because if all their pieces fit in the place, that's why I was trying to say pit when I said pieces and fit. Everything fits the same way. If everything works out, you could have something really good there. I just don't see it. It just seems like square peg round hole in Tennessee. But if you look at their numbers here, I I think Tennessee is my favorite. I'm going to stand by it. At the end of the live stream, I'm going to put out some of my favorite bets, and I kind of, the Patriots and Titans weren't two of them. They're two teams I really like. Out of these bets, Jacksonville at 8.5, I really like. I remember Jacksonville was a 7-3 team. The defense fell apart. They fired their defensive coordinator. The offense could be better this year. Jacksonville is actually my favorite in kind of an upset here to win this division, not Houston. And the reason why is that I don't know if Diggs is really the right fit. I know it sounds crazy, but how they're building this team is a lot different than a guy like Diggs. Buffalo can say everything, but they're not sad to lose Diggs at all. We'll have to see if it happens on the field, but like in the locker room, it's a better place. Does Diggs really make the Texans better, or does he cause problems? But I really, really, really love Jacksonville in this division here. Perry says a healthy Burrow and some of their draft picks pan out. Look out for the Bengals. They could go back to the Super Bowl. Absolutely. They're raving about Mims. And for those of you that don't know, Marius Mims, 6'7", 340, only has a few starts in college. But if he can play 17 games, the upside is crazy high. Jermaine Bertrand, another super talented guy, had some off-field issues, which is rare for an Alabama player, but the talent's there. Two really good, solid defensive tackles in the draft. If all those guys pan out, Cincinnati is a very, very, very dangerous team. Oh, these are great jerseys. Funk says he hasn't bought a jersey since the 90s. He got Spielman. That's a great one. Blades. Oh, God, Benny Blades. For those of you who don't know Benny Blades, one of my all-time favorite players. Love Benny Blades. Sanders, all blue. How do you not have a Sanders jersey? I had a buddy of mine, Chiefs fan, had Barry Sanders jersey. Black Tim Brown in a reversible Rice jersey, had a maroon side and a white side. That's kind of cool, man. And I know how highly you think of Tim Brown. I agree too. I love Tim Brown. Hall of Famer and underrated at the same time. Diggs did need a fresh start. I don't know how that's going to work because Nico Collins is the guy. He needs to be the main guy. And can Diggs understand that he's going there to be in a supportive role, not the main role? And if he can handle that, then Houston's a dangerous team. If he doesn't, this could be explosive and it could cause turmoil in a very young locker room. I like Jacksonville, man. I really do. With the Colts, now the Colts, complete unknown. Anthony Richardson couldn't stay healthy. Jonathan Taylor missed a lot of time. Now, part of that was a contract situation. He's got his contract. If he stays healthy, is he the best running back in football? He's one of them. Maybe the best. The defense is solid. You add Latu, who first defensive player off the board. This could be a fun team. Out of all the teams, I would not bet on the Colts at all because there's so many unknowns. So many unknowns. But if they pan out, they could win this division. The Bills, I think they did. They get a pick for next year. I've been saying I think McDermott could be gone, but they'll have some extra draft capital to help out. It'll be interesting to see what they do. They may need to. The problem is that Von Miller contract, they have to find a way to maneuver around that. So this is a good defensive draft. They could draft defensive players. We'll have to wait and see. But they just wanted to move on from Diggs, and they got some really good value. We'll have to see what happens because remember the Titans gave up their first round pick to the Vikings, so they have some extra draft capital. So it's kind of interesting to see what these two teams are going to do. So my two favorite jerseys in the NFL are the Vikings. The Vikings Winter Warrior, if you haven't seen it, is really cool. Normally, I'm not a fan of these alternative jerseys, but they are really cool. And I really want to hate on the Bengals all white, but it's pretty sharp. It's pretty sharp. It really is. It really is. I really want to hate on both of them, but no. The Vikings Winter Warrior is really, really, really cool. And the Bengals white uniforms are also cool. That said, the Chiefs do not need to experiment. There's always a Chiefs idiot out there who wants to do an all black Chiefs uniform, and it's like, no, just stop. But yeah. And we didn't even talk about Brian Thomas Jr. Perry swears up and down that he was his number one receiver. You get Christian Kirk coming back. You unlocked oh, God, another name freeze. The tight end, Evan Ingram. You unlocked Evan Ingram. Travis Etienne had a great season. The defense, you re-sign Josh Allen. You're going to move around. Another name freeze. Former number one pick in the draft, Trayvon Martin, I think it is. There's a lot of good things in Jacksonville. Brian Thomas Jr. could put up MVP numbers, but I think that they're going to distribute the ball way too much. I think Christian Kirk's going to be a 1,000-yard guy. Evan Ingram, he led the team in receptions last year. Something crazy. It was like 108. He almost set like the all-time record. Didn't even go to a Pro Bowl. Really underrated guy. But Evan Ingram's a guy, world of potential. Christian Kirk, number one receiver on that team. Brian Thomas Jr. doesn't have to be the number one guy to have a massive impact. What you really want to do is take some pressure off Christian Kirk, and you could use him just as a deep threat. And you also still got Gabe Davis, who I think is a solid dude, just not a great guy, you know. Kirk's a solid number two. Thomas Jr. a true number one. I'm not going to disagree with you about Thomas being a true number one guy. But the one thing I would say is that I think Christian Kirk's a solid number one, to be honest with you. I thought that drawing a blank on the guy, another name freeze here. He's with Tennessee now. I thought he was going to be the number one guy in Jacksonville, and he was like off and on number one. But Christian Kirk showed that he was really the number one guy. When he got hurt at the end of the season, that was part of the things that Trevor Lawrence didn't trust. I'm drawing blank on the guy's name. Having some name freezes here. This is why you call her baby. Always call your girl baby. Don't call her by the wrong name. He's in Tennessee. He's signed $90 million. But if Thomas is the number one guy, though, and Christian Kirk's the number two, there's wow. But you still got Travis Etienne. You still got Evan Ingram. The offensive line's not bad. I like Jacksonville over 8.5. I didn't put this as one of my favorites, but yeah, maybe I should have. The only team to have a negative number on here is the Kansas City Chiefs, which are the overwhelming favorite, and they should be. The Chargers, I get why the number's so high, because Harbaugh winning a national championship. There's a ton of talent in the Chargers, just a poorly coached team. Next year, they scare me. This year, they don't. They're just going to be so much different, but you got the star quarterback. You got some players. I like what you did in the draft, but 1 year away. 1 year away. Next year, watch out. Raiders at plus 900, and Denver, which I think Denver, I'm really surprised at the hate, because I think the defense is solid. I think they have some weapons on offense. I think Knicks can adapt to Sean Payton's offense. It's not going to be the same offense you saw with the Saints, but I don't think it's going to be bad. I really don't. I think the offense is going to be middle of the package. If the defense is good, they could be a surprise team. If the Jags have a healthy offensive, if the Jags can have a balanced offense, they can challenge this season. Absolutely. Travis Etienne, by the way, the offense was not the problem. Their defense was the problem. And then when Christian Kirk went down, I'm drawing a blank on the other guy's name. He's now in Tennessee. He didn't really step up. They started adding Evan Ingram as the guy and Travis Etienne. But if Christian Kirk stays healthy, there's a chance Jacksonville wins that division. They're 7-3. Defense has some problems. Travis Etienne looked awesome. He stays healthy. Christian Kirk stays healthy. You got a lot of talent. Oh, and you don't need the defense to be great. It's just that the defense was bad last year. There are some major holes in the secondary, and what Jacksonville did is they said, you know what, we're just going to have our front seven be really good, and we have some athletes, and we're just going to try to make it work. But I'm not sold on the Jacksonville secondary. I think that's a major question mark. But when I look at the front seven, it could be really good. I like the offense a lot. Yeah, they got a Pro Bowl kick returner in Devin Duvernay. I forgot about that. I forgot about that. But yeah, they got a Pro Bowl kick returner. They got a lot of weapons offensively. I think Travis Etienne really underrated. Really underrated. And he got his money. There isn't an excuse. Perry's spitting fire today. There's no excuse for T-Law this season. He really needs to take it. No, he absolutely does. Absolutely does. He has to. He's got plenty of weapons. He needs to step forward. The defense, if they're like a bottom 10 defense, you got some problems. If they're ranked anywhere between like 10 to 15 defensively, Jacksonville will be a 12-win team. The offense should be loaded. Perry, if Peyton can get next to a solid starter level and he gets better as the year goes on, Denver could turn it around this year. I absolutely think they could. They got some weapons offensively. I think the defense under Vance Joseph is not bad. Absolutely. Now, these are some of my best bets. Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. Let me go through the AFC West here. I got my best bets later, but you know what? Let me go through my best bets right now. It's going to be really hard, but I really think I may put action on Denver winning more than 5.5. It's a solid number. It's -110. All right. Do I think Denver can win 6 games? Yes, I do. I really do. And I think this is a great bet. You're getting a good number. Jacksonville over 8.5 wins. They're my sleeper to win that division. You get -125. Kansas City. Look, I'm a Chiefs fan. I'm a Chiefs fan. All right. But is this a 12-win team? The answer is yes. They won 10 last year, and I think they're caught off guard by how teams played them like it was their Super Bowl. It's not going to happen this year. I really like it. Out of all the teams in the AFC, my number one bet would be Denver over 5.5, which is hard for me because I want to watch Denver crash and burn, but I don't see them really being a 6-11 team. I don't see it. I think they're going to hover around 500. I really do. I think Denver will hover around 500. Maybe it'll be 8-9. I think that's completely realistic. So that's kind of my preview of the AFC here. I don't know if I can actually put money on Denver, though. I don't know if I can do it. But I do like Jacksonville quite a bit. And I think Kansas City can win over 11.5. But betting on the Chiefs to win 12 games, it's kind of hard to do. Would it surprise me if the Chiefs are 12-5 or better? No, it wouldn't. Not even close. It wouldn't even be that big of a surprise. But that's kind of what I see. I also see Jacksonville being better than 9-8. So absolutely. Perry's on fire today. He goes, Peyton needs to dumb down the offense for Knicks and let them learn it slow if Knicks can keep the interceptions to a minimum. Absolutely. I really think that what they need to do, and I'm hearing just the opposite. I'm hearing McLaughlin is the best running back in camp. He's a rookie free agent. But if they use Javonte Williams the way that I'm just having all sorts of brain freezes today. Alvin Kamara, that's the name I was thinking of. I can't believe I forgot. I'm not coming. So if you can use Javonte Williams the way the Saints use Alvin Kamara, I think you could have something really, really, really good. I think you could have something exceptional. I really believe that, because if you use him that way, and he comes back from that knee injury, but early on I'm hearing McLaughlin's the number one running back. Not a bad dude, but I don't know if he's the guy you really want to feature. I think Javonte Williams is the guy you can feature. You run the ball and you don't have Knicks carry the team year one. You have a chance to hover around 500. I think if you put Knicks in a situation where he needs to play from behind, it's going to be a long season for him. And let's be clear, he's going to make a lot of mistakes. If I was going to bet on Denver, it would be a low bet at high odds. Well, the thing is, what I like about the Denver is that more people are betting the under than they are the over. But I like over 5.5. I mean, I really do. I mean, this is a good bet. Over 5.5 at -110, where under 5.5 is -120. I wouldn't call this a high number, but I mean, this is what I'd be looking at. And then if you take a look here, I mean, what are the odds of them? They're dead last, tied with New England and Tennessee at plus 8,000. Would I bet on them to win the AFC West or go to the playoffs? Absolutely not. But I do think that they'll hover around 500, and I think it would make a lot of sense to take a team like Denver and say, hey, look, Denver can be a 7-8 win team. I don't think that's a lot to ask. I think that they can do that. I think pretty well realistically they can do that. I had this starred, and I wanted to talk about it. I forgot to bring this up when we're talking about the AFC South, because Jacksonville's my surprise pick to win this division. And looking on here, because I do have Jacksonville as one of my picks, because they're at 8.5. I think I had Trevor Lawrence as my MVP pick last year. Didn't really come close. You bring in a guy that there's lots of upside, Brian Thomas Jr. I think that Christian Kirk's a little better than you do, but that's okay. I mean, we both think he's a solid starter. So you have at least one solid starter. Evan Ingram, 108 catches last year, I believe it was. Travis Etienne, really underrated season. I think that it would have gotten a lot more attention if Christian McCaffrey didn't have such a breakout season. But you have something pretty special with that Jacksonville offense. I just wonder what the defense is going to be, because if the defense is much better than they were last year, I'm in a small minority. I have Jacksonville winning that division. I'm in a small minority. Raven76B Moore says, Dan, I think the Titans will be competitive. I mean, Will Levis is set up with good weapons. And I mean, I disagree. Let me rephrase this. Okay, first of all, there's a lot of YouTube channels out there where everybody has to agree with the host, or the host will call them names. I'm never going to have that type of show. I want people to disagree with me. The reason why I don't like Will Levis has weapons. We do agree there. Okay, you got DeAndre Hopkins, the guy that I've been talking about that I can't think of his name. From Jacksonville. They added some pieces on the offensive line. Of course, they used the 5th overall pick, or 7th overall pick on offensive lineman. Hopefully that works out. Callahan looks like I'm not really sure what Callahan's trying to do, to be honest. But here's the thing. Calvin Ridley, thank you. And Tyler Boyd. I forgot about Tyler Boyd, but here's the drill. You're bringing in Tyler Boyd and you're bringing in Ridley. You're trying to run that quick rhythm passing offense that you ran in Cincinnati. All right. That's not Will Levis's game at all. And that's the problem, is that Will Levis is a guy built for a downfield deep threat. He's got a big arm, but I watched him at Kentucky. He was never the dude that if he goes back 50, 60 times a game, you're toast. He was the type of dude that he could go downfield on you. And so what he does well and what the Bengals want him to do are two separate and different things. That's why I really don't like the fit. I keep saying this because you bring in so your first and second round picks, you bring in J.C. Latham, played right tackle at Alabama, massive dude, and you're going to make him starting left tackle in Tennessee. Okay, great. So you have this big physical offensive line. Great. Well, you have Derrick Henry. Oh, wait a minute. You don't have Derrick Henry. He's in Baltimore. Okay, so you're going to run the Bengals offense, quick rhythm passing, high octane offense, but you have a smash mouth offensive line. Second pick in the draft, they didn't have a third round pick. They had a second round pick, Tavondre Sweat, the massive defensive tackle out of Texas, had DUI a week before the draft. And you still drafted him 38th overall. Nobody had him going that high before the DUI. So you're going to have a massive, big defensive front. Great. But you're in the division with Trevor Lawrence and C.J. Stroud. So you're in the division with teams that want to throw the ball quite a bit. Okay, well, you're built to stop the run. If you put Will Levis on a team like Pittsburgh, where you want to throw the ball downfield, you have to play in bad conditions, maybe scramble around a lot, I like Levis in that type of offense. Put him in a high passing offense. I just don't see it working. Now, if Levis surprises me and it works, great. Now don't ever say anything bad about Will Levis in front of Denver Gator, but it just seems like he's not set up to succeed. And I was reading something on ESPN where they're working on his footwork and changing things in his mechanics. That's not a good sign. So that's kind of the reason why I think Tennessee is just going to be a terrible team, because it just seems like they're building a team that Mike Vrabel would love, which was a smash mouth team with a quarterback who can throw the ball downfield. Well, great. That's the type of team that you're building. Great, fantastic. That you can win in the NFL with that type of team. You really can. But you're going to run a system that's completely different. So, well, we'll find out. I mean, we're going to find out. I personally think that Tennessee, I didn't really like the Callahan signing. I'm a huge Vrabel fan. I was kind of surprised Vrabel got passed up. I think Vrabel, who's working in Cleveland right now. But yeah, Burrow and Levis are completely different types of guys, and asking Levis to do what Joe Burrow does well, I don't think is really fair for Levis. And it kind of sucks. I see Levis would start and be a massive improvement with a team like Vegas. I think Levis would start and be a massive improvement with the Giants. I got some hate on hating about Daniel Jones. I just don't see it. I don't see it. I could see Levis. It would never happen, but I could see Levis having a lot of success in a team like Philly. But asking him to do what the Bengals do well, I don't see that happening at all. Perry says, I still think it's Houston's division to lose, but I can see a Jags challenging for the division. No, I get it. And Houston's easily the favorite. I have the Jags winning the division. It's kind of an upset pick. It's just that I think Houston may regress a little bit. The schedule's going to be a lot more difficult. The expectations are going to be a lot higher. They had some issues with the offensive line. A lot of people think I'm seeing CJ Stroud's the second best quarterback in football. There was something on social media. Hey, you can't pick Patrick Mahomes. Give me your quarterback for the next 5 years. Everybody kept on saying CJ Stroud. It's like, well, let's pump the brakes a little bit. Are you sure he's really the second best quarterback in football already? Let's see how he manages a personality like Diggs versus an up-and-coming guy like Nico Collins. That's the guy that really needs to be the guy, not Diggs. I want to see how this dynamic works. There's a lot of things about Houston that I really want to make sure, because it's one thing to just come out of nowhere. It's another thing to take that next step up, and we're going to see what they do. I just see Jacksonville. A lot of people forget Jacksonville is 7-3 and looked really, really good for a while. And then they had injuries and the defense kind of fell apart. Injuries are injuries. You have no idea. But they did get rid of their defensive coordinator immediately. And from what I'm hearing early on, they're going to make some tweaks on their defense. I don't expect Jacksonville to have a great defense, but if they can be middle of the pack or just slightly better, because there's talent, especially in that front seven. If that front seven can be one of the better front sevens in football, and they got talent. Devin Lloyd's a guy I had a major man crush on. Forsay Olaquan, I can't pronounce that name. Led the NFL in tackles for a couple straight years. Really, really good inside linebackers. Really, really good inside linebackers. Josh Allen, one of the best pass rushers in all of football. Now you're going to take Trayvon Martin, who had 10.5 sacks last year. Hey, let's use him differently, because in Georgia, he played inside-outside. In Jacksonville, he's just an edge rusher, but he's a guy that on a lot of defenses may be better suited to play defensive tackle. Using him, moving him around could be a boost. It could also hurt his development, because I don't think he's a guy that there's going to be a lot of comparisons, because Aiden Hutchinson's so far a much better player. He's going to have a lot more sacks. So did Jacksonville mess up and not take Aiden Hutchinson? You're going to keep hearing that, especially from Lions fans. And it's fair, too, because the Lions got the better player. But if you use him inside and outside, and he's productive with Josh Allen, and you got these two stud inside linebackers, you never know. You never know. Titans are going to be a tough read this season. Do the Titans have a running back that can take advantage of the run first line? They got Tony Pollard, and he's a guy that I would want to be my number 2 guy. They gave him more money than the Ravens are giving Derrick Henry, so I don't get it. And that's the problem. When you get a guy like J.C. Latham, a 350-pound mountain of a guy, great. Let's bring back Derrick Henry. But no, you go with a small running back who really is not a strength running in between the tackles. Well, great. You have an offensive line to get outside. No, you get a guy who's 350 pounds. A lot of their stuff just doesn't make any sense to me. Do I think Pollard can be a good running back? Yeah, you put him in an offense like in Detroit, he can be 1,000-yard running back. You know, he can do a lot of things that Jahmyr Gibbs can do. And I like Tony Pollard's game. He's not a workhorse type of guy, but you gave him a 3-year, it's like a $24 million, $25 million deal. You're giving him starter money, but he proved in Dallas with a good offensive line, he's not a workhorse type of guy. And that's I just don't get what Tennessee's doing. A lot of their stuff just doesn't make sense. So another thing, they signed Jamal Adams. I love Jamal Adams. He's a box safety, and the defense, I'm assuming they're running a similar type defense to what you're running in Cincinnati, where they play a lot too deep. Well, that's not Adams' game, so figure it out. Levis reminds me, yeah, exactly. That's his game. But Joe Flacco didn't win games by going back throwing the ball 60 times a game. You weren't like, oh, we got to stop Joe Flacco from. No, you're worried about Joe Flacco with the deep ball, great defense, power running game, great. But yeah, you're right. Yeah, and that's the thing about Levis. He didn't even do that in college. So yeah. If Sweat can take up double, oh God, yes. By the way, Simmons is the best player on that defense, and I'm also a huge Harold Landry fan. So I mean, there's a lot of things that they got some good pieces in play. I just think Vrabel got the most out of that team. So I like the Jack safety Cicero. I like him too, but that's part of the thing is they have to figure some things out in Jacksonville. So we'll have to find out. The Jags took a guy with a high ceiling over AH who has a high floor and good ceiling. Yeah. So what he's talking about is Aiden Hutchinson, who high floor and a good ceiling. But they took Trayvon Martin, who was the workout warrior. But at Georgia, they used him. So Georgia, what they do is really fun and interesting is that they not only do they rotate their players quite often on that defensive front seven, they rotate the players and they also rotate positions. And the thing with Trayvon Martin is that going into the combine process, he was considered a low first-round pick because you have him bulk up and play defensive tackle. Do you have him play defensive end in a 4-3? Yes. But then he goes to the combine and he's like 270 something. He ran a 4.51. And Jacksonville's like, oh, he ran a 4.51. He's a great pass rusher. Well, he had 10.5 sacks last year, but he's never going to be a great pass rusher. It's not really a skill set. Jacksonville really didn't use him right. But Aiden Hutchinson was the guy they should have had because then you would add him opposite Josh Allen, two excellent edge rushers. And then you just need to get some space eaters, which are cheaper than defensive tackles who can penetrate, a la Aaron Donald, Chris Jones, who just got a Brinks truck worth of money, by the way. So you get space eaters, which are cheaper. By the way, space eaters is what Tennessee's got loads of. They got Guy Simmons. They drafted 360-pound Devondre Sweat in the second round. I didn't get that pick at all because, after the DUI, I wouldn't have taken him in the first 3 rounds. It was right before the combine. But yeah, the Trayvon Martin, or is it I said Martin? It's Trayvon Walker, but. And look, I get names wrong. Bottom line, I think everybody, and even Jacksonville fans would say, hey, look, if we had to do it all over again, should we have taken Aiden Hutchinson? Yeah, that's a no-brainer. But can you use this guy with a world-class pass rusher like Josh Allen and be a really good defense? Answer is yes. So he can be a part of that. But, is he the same level of player as Josh Allen? The answer is no. He's just not. Josh Allen's an elite pass rusher. And I'm embarrassed to do this. I'm embarrassed to do this because I'm so bad with names. This is why I strongly recommend you always call him Baby. But Walker, I've been calling him Martin. Anyway. But look, You got Eric Armstead. I don't know if he's the same guy, but if he's the same guy, you could have you could have 3 studs on that defensive line. You got Devon Hamilton, a guy I love. He's a pure 3-4 type of dude. Eric Armstead, or I think earlier in his career, you could use him in a 4-3 set. I think now he's more of a 3-4 guy. But we're gonna see, because there's some good pieces in Jacksonville. So I'm glad we took Aiden Hutchinson over Thibodeau, the defensive end. Yeah, and Thibodeau's a guy who's been battling injuries, kind of struggled in the Wink Martindale system. He's a guy that needs to have a big season. But there is a reason why the Giants traded for and then gave Brian Burns a lot of money, is because Thibodeau, here's a team that drafted 5th and 7th overall. Thibodeau hasn't panned out, and Evan Neal's the definition of bust. Both those guys need to pan out. And the guy that's going to end up, taking a brunt of that is the coach, Brian Dable. By the way, I haven't watched Hard Knocks yet. I haven't signed up for any of the streaming services because I have to save up. I am going to have to, because I'm going to do the Chiefs game, so I have to buy the NFL Sunday ticket. I haven't bought. I don't know what it's on, but I'm also going to sign up for Netflix here pretty soon. I'm waiting till like Cobra Kai comes out, and then I'm going to sign up for Netflix. Chiefs Steelers on Christmas is going to be on Netflix. So obviously I have to sign up for Netflix so I can do play-by-play. And I have to do Sunday ticket. I think I can avoid doing Amazon Prime. I haven't signed up for Amazon. I'll have to double check the Chiefs schedule, but I haven't signed up for any of the streaming services. I don't know which one Hard Knocks is on. I'll be honest with you, but I've been hearing great things about it. I do want to watch it, and I'll get caught up on it. So, but I've been avoiding spending money. I've been avoiding spending money. So that's just me being cheap. But anyway. Guys, I'm going to wrap this up here. Final thoughts, questions, concerns, anything that you want to go over. I'm going to wrap it up here. But anything you want to go over, let me know, and I'll go ahead and answer any final thoughts or questions here. I feel like Brian Dable is gone. I think he needs to go to the NFC Championship game to keep his job. I think all he needs to do is get to the playoffs. What I really want to see him do is that it will really help is that if he brings Daniel Jones. The reason why they brought him around is because when they drafted Daniel Jones, they thought he could do the same thing for Daniel Jones that he did for Josh Allen. Josh Allen was not a good quarterback his first 2 seasons, and his 3rd season with Diggs ended up being a superstar. And they thought that they could take Daniel Jones and make him a superstar. He's just not that guy. But if Daniel Jones ends up playing really, really great, that game he had in the playoffs against the Vikings, over 300 yards passing, 70-some yards rushing, he does something like that, great. But the Giants have really been kind of disaster drafting. Jones isn't the guy, but if Daniel Jones ends up being a star quarterback, then Dable will keep his job. But I think the Giants really just got to get to the playoffs. They do it with 10 wins, maybe, but I don't see them winning 10 games. I think Locke will be the starter. Dable can't wait. I really think that. Okay, so here's one thing about the NFL. Sometimes because you give a player a lot of money, they get the starting job whether they deserve it or not. I think that Locke will not even get a chance, even though I think he deserves a chance. And Drew Locke can play, folks. I'm a big Drew Locke guy, but we went to the same high school. It has nothing to do with it. I'm a big Drew Locke guy. It's not really fair that he hasn't gotten a chance, but he won't get a chance unless it's an injury, and then he may come in and save the job, save the day. But I can't wait to take a look at Hard Knocks. Raven76B more. It's always great with you in the chat, and I'm looking forward to that week 1. I will be live, of course. It's less than 2 months away. It's coming fast. I apologize to everybody about not having my first video out. Hopefully I can have it out by Tuesday, and then I'll get caught up on the videos, and I look forward to, hopefully you guys will check it out. So we'll see here. And Dable is, of all the coaches, I think Dable is number 1 on the hot seat. No, and that's the note that we're going to end on. Next week, I plan on having some guests, but I haven't reached out on them anything. Am I going to be okay? So up until the regular season, no, but at the start of week 2, I'm going to be going live Monday through Friday. I don't know what, I know you're in Canada. I don't know what time zone you're on. It'll be 4:00 Eastern, 1:00 Pacific. I'm calling it Afternoon Delight. I'm going to be live for 3 hours Monday through Friday. So at the start of football season, I'm going to be on quite a bit, but until the start of the regular season, I'm just cutting it down to just Fridays. But when regular season starts, I'm going to go live Monday through Friday. I already worked it out with my job. So it shouldn't be a problem. It's going to be kind of a tough endeavor, and one I'm looking forward to, but I'm also a little nervous. I'm not being really honest. I'm a little nervous about it, but I'm excited as well. The weekly videos of me breaking down the teams should have already happened. A lot of things go wrong last week. There should not be any problems. I should have my NFC East video out Tuesday, and then one out every week, but I'll have to double up on one of these weeks so I can get all 8 out before the start of the regular season. You're in my time zone? Yeah, so it'll be Monday through Friday, 1 to 4 your time. And if you're on Eastern time zone, it'll be 4 to 7. I'm calling it Afternoon Delight. I'm going to be live for 3 hours. Denver Gators agreed to come on a weekly basis to talk some college football. I'm hoping to have more and more guests. I haven't had a chance to advertise or talk too much about it. I've just been kind of just focusing on work, being live on Friday, and then when football season starts, hopefully it'll all work out. But yeah, I've never tried it before, but I'm going to go live Monday through Friday for 3 hours, and we'll see how it goes. And hopefully I get to see a lot of you, Perry. But it'll be after the first week. So the first day of Afternoon Delight will be, I want to quote you, September 9th. So, and I need to update my YouTube channel, and I need to kind of get that out. That starting September 9th, I'll be live Monday through Friday, 1 to 4 your time, 4 to 7 East Coast time, and the other time zones can figure it out. So that's all I got. Guys, have a fantastic weekend, and I hope you're all back next Friday.